Tell me what happened, and I forget, was it 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Tell me what happened if you can.
Well, we were under the understanding that the beach itself is not owned by the town of Cobourg. Clearly, if you look at the town property boundary lines, town of Cobourg does not own the beach. And so we also know that there are riparian rights for the waterfront, like all over the place. So we also understood that the West Beach had a long fight many years ago to try and keep their property privacy rights, and they lost. Riparian rights were overridden. So we knew that we had the right to probably walk along the waterfront. We did not go on the beach. And we were called away. We did not cross the beach to meet the policeman that was hailing us, because we thought, no, the minute we're on the beach, we're going to keep our feet in the water. And so we got to the other end where the hotel is, and we met him there, and for the rest, they were just not very impressed with us.
And you were in the water?
We were in the water, yes.
Very far out, or?
Oh no, ankle deep, toe deep, like really the edge.
What did they say?
We were on the beach. No, we weren't on the beach. How did you get there? Well, we went on by the pier. So it's not... Anyway.
What did you get a ticket for? Was it trespassing?
Is it trespassing? It's Section 85. I'm trying to research it. I actually don't know.
How much was the charge?
I've been charged $50.
Okay. And then Tamara was with you, and it got escalated, let's say.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to her. What do you think about this? Obviously, you're part of the protesters, but what are you protesting, I guess?
Where do you start? It's the misinformation. Really, it's about misinformation. And the people who have money at the very top, Bill Gates, is literally, even today I heard that Bill Gates is talking to local mayors to coerce them, and he has money, and he's just going to buy everybody. So really it's a statement about follow the money, because we have a lot to lose. We have a lot to lose.
I talked to Josh about this before, and but do you believe the virus, what do you believe, is it as serious as what they're saying, or is that what's the...
I've followed health for a long time. I discovered in 1995 that the health units have no responsibility for anything they do. I was a school teacher, and they'd have no responsibility for vaccines that they give kids. So I had a damaged child in my class, and the health nurse refused to come. Because she refused to come, I began my homework. And I learned that nobody's responsible for our health, anything they do to us, chemically, pharmaceutically, anything. So it's up to us to have our own responsibility, and I learned to be healthy. You have to be. When you're an elementary school teacher, if you're not healthy, it's really tough. 30 years in front of sneezy kids. I'm not afraid of illness, not at all. So what is COVID? The COVID that is scaring us has a lot to do with what they've added to it. They've apparently added some HIV proteins and some SARS proteins. And so this whole business of SNPs and being able to genetically modify, Monsanto does it, well, so does the health unit, or the health, the WHO and all the scientists, etc. So what I have learned is that the whole system is very corrupt. COVID is a cold. It's a cold. And I really believe that it went through Cobourg, Port Hope area before Christmas. There were so many people sick before Christmas. It was a long time. And people would phone me, Joyce, what do you suggest? I've got this really bad cold. What do you think I'll do? And so I give them advice, zinc, vitamin C, lots of fruits, lots of tea, and it would be all fine. So, I don't know.
Tell me what happened to you. Was it 2 weeks ago?
So it would have been 2 Saturdays ago now. I took a leisurely stroll with a friend of mine along the Cobourg shoreline, and after some back and forth with the Cobourg police, eventually I was arrested and detained in a jail cell at the police station for about an hour and a half until I could speak to duty council on my options.
Joyce said that you guys were in the water. Tell me a little bit about that. You weren't on the beach.
Correct. No, we only accessed the beach over by Breakers Motel to comply with the officer who was motioning toward us to come to him. So up until that point, we had remained along the shoreline with our feet in the water for the entire time.
Did it surprise you how far it got escalated to?
Oh, absolutely. My gosh, welcome to Trinidad.
And tell me about the fight continues. Tell me about today.
So as you can see, there's been quite the following here with the mask mandate. There's a lot of people here questioning the science and the evidence-based decision-making happening. We have a gentleman actually in the crowd who was responsible for developing PPE in the 70s. I forget, his last name eludes me, but one of the elements was actually named after him for his research and contribution. So he got in touch with me, and he has some really interesting things to say about the science and the data and how it shows that wearing these cloth masks actually increases your risk of infection because it promotes touching of the face. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people with their masks on their chin or half off, and they're constantly falling down, so they're pulling them back up. And I mean, this whole thing just screams unlawful. It's a mandate coming down from someone who was not elected. This was never voted on. And here in Cobourg specifically, again, I keep repeating, further restrictions and further impositions are not demonstrably justifiable. We don't have the caseload, and we've had no deaths to justify any of this stuff.
Is it, as a question, and I don't know the answer to this, so this is why I ask you, do you find that it's hypocritical that the beach is closed, yet the trailer park's open, yet the downtown here we have a thing about pedestrian walkway? So is it,
Right.
Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I've been saying for a few weeks, maybe even months now, is hypocrisy is the new normal. We took a stroll through the trailer park the other day because all of a sudden now playgrounds are safe. So we took our kids down to the beach playground. They haven't obviously been since the end of March. And we were shocked to see the amount of people parked in the trailer park there, obviously from out of town, from who knows where, and yet our beach is closed in an attempt to keep the others from coming here. So either it's all or it's nothing.
For the court case, gonna fight it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the intention.
Good. Josh, can you tell me what did you do today down at the beach?
Well, I took a little stroll along the shoreline all the way to Breakers Motel and back to the pier, just in protest of Tamara's arrest and Joyce's arrest last week for doing the same thing that I've now done twice in front of police officers and by law with not breaking any laws.
It certainly appears that the law is that you can't go on the beach, but if you're 2 inches in the water, it appears that that's okay. Is that correct?
That's the way that it works. They kind of consider a body on the water like a boat, and you're allowed to moor your boat right up on the shore. As long as you're not touching the shore, you're not breaking the law. As long as we don't go through the fencing, we're not breaking the law. So we don't get vandalism, we don't get trespassing. It's just the way that seems to work. It's a little silly, though, when you've got the beach closed off and you've got King Street marked down as a pedestrian only. It's like the town says, don't bring the tourist, but then they're saying, bring the tourist. It's very confusing.
A lot more supporters this weekend.
Absolutely. This is the turnout we've been wanting to see since week one. We had approximately 70 people or so, and there's hundreds more behind them that are just not brave enough yet, and understandable because there's a lot of business owners that are with us, and they want to show their support in silent ways, so that's what we're adhering to.
Good.